please welcome Kushal.
Talk is to infinity and teaching Python to infinity and beyond. I was a kid back then those days, and I still love it. And I just want to say one few lines about myself. My name is Kushal Das. I'm from India. I'm a Fedora contributor, a fellow member in PSF, and I work as a community gardener in a company called Eucalyptus Systems. So I should just thank them once because they sponsored my travel and staying and stuff. And I should thank PyCon also for sponsoring my PyCon ticket through financial aid. And maybe I can start the real talk now. So this talk is actually about sharing our experiences and things which worked and which didn't work for an online summer training. We started this training back in 2008. It's online. It runs on IRC. It runs for anyone who has a comparatively new Linux distribution, an open mind to learn stuff, and basically whoever wants to become a contributor. So if you see that name, DGPLUG, you can guess LUG is Linux Users Group. And DGP is the place where I'm from, Durgapur, the nearest town from my village. And when I started that lug back in 2004, and during that time there was almost no one to tell us what exactly to do with this thing called Linux, other than clicking randomly. And so the goal of our whole lug was to learn yourself and teach others. In Bengali, like Shekho ebong Shekhao. I mean, that's the translation. So that's how we started doing our lug and going ahead. But then we found that there were many engineering colleges in that locality where we have so many engineering college students who are going to random companies to do their summer training, where basically they are just paying for 3 months, some amount of money, learning nothing. At the end of the 3 months, they're just getting a certificate, and they're trying to use that certificate to get a better job during college interviews in the final year. But almost zero knowledge sharing there. So this training started to actually have a replacement for those kind of, I should say, nonsense trainings, where people generally go only to build same library management system year after year. And because we already started doing a lot of free software work as a contributor in different parts and different projects, we thought that we can actually share the whole thing as a summer training program. So from the very first year, our goal was always to target the local people first and then in a global level. So the initial idea was to go for offline campaign as much as possible. We started with talking with the students who we knew personally, and then getting their friends' contacts from there, like in the same area or in other colleges throughout India. And when I said throughout India, we started getting into the part of mailing list so that we announce it over mailing list. And then it slowly started becoming global effort. At the beginning, it was only me, but I'm going to name another person here, Sakti Kannan. He is not here, but he is a very well-known FOSS developer and mentor from India. So he also teamed up with me to help out the students, and we set up the initial part of the things to be done at any minimum rate, and what all things we think that we can get out of this whole program, how things will grow. And from there, he has a lot of these tutorials online in his site, which you can just find his name, Google, you will find those things. And then came the next step, because during those days, I never heard the word MOOC as such, and I never knew, I only knew about the sites where we can go and see some videos, online videos to learn about something. But which brings into this problem that why we chose IRC as our tool or technology. We never had good bandwidth. I mean, I still don't have good bandwidth. I'm right now the fastest internet connection of my life, 4 Mbps. That is like, I'm paying like $100 for it. But I know most of the students in India, they don't have access to any such internet. If they are lucky, they will get maybe 256 kbps. If they are in a big city, they will get a 3G these days, of course. But IRC was something which was part of free software community, I think, from the very beginning. It works, it just works, takes very less bandwidth. We can actually record the stuff because it's text, and we can just keep the files for the later reuse. And I hope even in the time of nuclear blasts and any other kind of catastrophe, IRC will be still there so that we can contact with each other somehow. So we thought, okay, we'll try with IRC. And we did that offline and online campaign in 2008. So first year, we started around 10 students in the #DGPLUG channel. By the way, though we are calling it a summer training, we actually start almost in the rainy season in India, like middle of June. That's our start timing. So out of 10 students, I think the training ran for 3 months. So a little bit more on the training is that this is a direct talk, direct conversation, I should say, between trainers and students. So trainers will start talking in the IRC channel, and it will go on till many hours, sometimes like 6 hours and till 2 AM in the night for the students. We do sessions almost every day night other than weekends for first 2 months, and then 1 month or 1.5 month project works where we try to push the same people into upstream places. So out of 10 students, we got around 3 or 4 students who stayed with us. Later, they went into different other projects. And that was the first year. So we started doing this year after year. 2014 will be 7th year for us. So last year, we started with 80 students from very different backgrounds. When I started this, the goal was engineering students. But I can give you an idea like what kind of people we got, not only from India, from this side of the world, like North America, all across Europe, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And people came, people talked with us, many people stayed. Like out of 80 students here, almost 40 plus stayed till the 3 months training course. They came online almost every day on time and kept doing they kept doing the stuff which was required. So other than engineers, we had a musician who was like doing masters in music and wanted to learn Python. And now, as far as I know, that he's moving from Spain to Oxford, and along his music master's degree, he became a part-time Django developer. We got from Sweden, I think, we got a primary school English teacher who was a full-time primary school teacher. From there, he moved into half-time or part-time, and other part-time as a sysadmin and Python developer. And few sysadmins from Germany who became full-time developers, just a move of the career, and regular engineering college students. Like, we had friends, correct? We started this program based on our friends. We tried to talk to them. We tried to talk to their friends and get students into this project. And we never thought about a word which I'm hearing in the last few years a lot of time. The word is diversity. We never actually thought about that. Why? From the very beginning, we had above 50% women participation. So even in last year, out of 80 plus students, we had almost 42 or 43 women participating in this program. We never had a problem where it was like too many boys, or it is like too many men-centric program or anything, or it was always almost in the similar level from the very beginning. And we also made sure that the message goes out in a proper way to the different colleges. So just after the first year, when we got few people who are doing good, both men and women, we actually tried to push them up in the local community as local superheroes. So they went to their colleges, to their friends, and shared their own knowledge and their life story, that how they started from zero and they became something, and which keep bringing in more and more students from both men and women, like the diversity part. Few times we saw like, and because it's online sessions, you know, people speak many random things. Sometimes the trainers, and few of us who do regular sessions, we become kind of itchy, and we use a lot of sarcasm maybe, but it goes well in both cases. There is no, like, if you are a student, you are just a student. One more thing which worked really well was staying in touch. So we are not a kind of program where it just runs for 3 months and it's over. Instead, those students become our friends. They stay online in the same place again and again, year after year. We try to guide them throughout their college level and even in their career level, when like which companies to join, where to work on, like what kind of projects we can work in future. The difference is actually to think that when someone new is coming in, they might think that, oh, it's a huge community, I just want to go and learn something. We want to break that part, or we want to make sure that they learn that they are the community. They are part of this. If we have to grow, we have to grow all together. And this message only stays if we make sure that people are coming back, people are staying in touch, and we repeat the same exercise year after year. A little bit on the course outline, what we teach. Starting from communication guidelines, mailing list guidelines, what is IRC, what are mailing list, how you should talk, when to talk. From there to basics of Linux distributions, terminals, commands you have to learn, source code management systems. A lot of time goes into documentation, why documentation is necessary, making sure everyone learns about documentation first, even before they start writing any code. And we try to push it so hard so that it becomes their natural habit to write good documentation. And we are getting kind of good result out there. And the final part of the training is actually taking those individual students and making them a contributor to some upstream project. It can be anything. I'll come into the projects a little bit later. So whatever happened in the last few years, 7 years, 6 years, the logs are there in that URL. If you go, you'll find the class session logs. This thing helps to revisit whatever we did before. You will find many fancy, funny things on the sessions, kind of questions people ask. So you may want to just go and visit it later on. And in any kind of sessions, we always say that you should start from the scratch. Do not assume that your students or the people who are here, they know this thing or that thing in technology. They maybe are coming from a complete different world, nothing to do with technology. They just want to learn it. So the class should progress based on the speed of the slowest student, not on the people who can just learn everything every day. So we try to pace the class based on that. This brings in some funny stories, like lessons learned, you can say in one way. So during the command line tools and trainings part, we try to teach people how to do the basic level of building C programs or libraries, and what is build dependency, what is make, all the basic things. And in one of the sessions, we generally say install Fedora by default. But if you are coming with another distribution, say Debian or Ubuntu, we'll still help you. We'll tell you what is the exact command to use to get the things done. So the default answer for installing our GCC package was yum install GCC. Everyone said it worked, it worked, it worked. and suddenly one student came up, it's like, it's not working. It's not working for almost half an hour. Like 3 or 4 of us were trying to help him out. And after all the commands we actually knew to figure out what's wrong with the yum in that box, somebody actually asked him, oh, by the way, which distribution you are in? Oh, I'm in Ubuntu. I'm like, okay, so how you got the yum in the first place? I said, you people were telling everyone to do yum, so I just did apt-get install yum. Why can't you do just apt-get install GCC instead? But yeah, that's a part of the whole process. So we assume that the student knows the difference between where to use yum or where to use GCC. Wrong assumption. So these days we just think that everyone knows nothing, and let's start from the scratch. People who can pick up first, they will pick up first. But we'll pace the program based on all students. Okay, how to manage 50+ students on an IRC channel. This is something was not we discovered. We just reused the process we have in Fedora project. So Fedora project has these meeting rooms, Fedora-meeting, Fedora-meeting-1, where we get many people at the same time. And the idea is the person who is speaking, the main or person who is in chair, he or she will be keep talking, and the other people, if they have any question, they will just type the exclamation mark. Then the moderator and the person who is in chair, in our case, our trainers, they will see those exclamation marks, and they will allow people or ask people to speak up. And the students will end with a EOM or EOF message so that we know that he is done, we can answer it back. And along with 80+ students, it worked really well. There was never ever any problem where like following the rules, but we had to make sure that the rule is being followed strictly. If not, we just shout back with caps. So as I said, like when it comes about programming and doing stuff, new people coming up a lot with this problem. Indentation issues. So don't try to solve it there. Just teach them some better editors. It can be any editor. It can be just IPython notebook. That will solve the new people's indentation issue totally. They will not have that problem at all. Solve real-life problems. During the initial project days, we asked the students to solve problems which are very near to them. Instead, the problems like any mathematical quiz or any other problems which we think is good. So within last few years, we saw people solving or creating programs to like downloading subtitles for the movies they have. Or one student actually wrote a code to scrap through all his movie selection, getting all the metadata from IMDb and showcasing in a nice UI. People are writing note-taking applications, system monitoring tool, compiling C programs from Windows to a Linux box server somewhere else through some simple Python scripts, stuff like that. So things which are very near to the students. And we believe that's the only way that students will love the problem statements. Or else it will be just some problem which was given by the teacher to solve. But in this way, they will find, oh, this is something can help me too or my friends too. And they can write it and they can actually show it off to their students. Other friends, students. One big thing in our program, superheroes. So for us, the superheroes are the other contributors who are doing great things for us for a long time. So we call those special sessions as guest sessions or guest lectures, where people from upstream development or any kind of upstream projects come over and give talks. Most of the talks are on, in general, like how they started their life from zero knowledge to where they are now. There are talks on, say, Creative Commons license, documentations, licensing in general. Last year, Nick Coughlan started the talks. His talk was the first guest lecture session. This year, hopefully, many of the other Pythonists will come over and give sessions like this. This actually helps the students to stay in touch or to see that that person I know, that name who wrote all these applications is actually a real person. I can talk to him or her, and I can ask anything. So that gives them a much more confidence. So we try to tell them that give them hope, give them heroes. so that they can follow and they can become better hero. We have a small home task submission system which is written in Python. I'll pass the link later on. So from all these trainings, what we found, people who are contributing to projects like Fedora, KDE, OpenStreetMap, people who are in companies like Red Hat, Amazon, Yahoo, the new startups coming up, and all across the Indian IT service companies, they got picked up very fast, which was kind of our goal to actually get these contributors up and running. Basically, those are the things I think I wanted to talk about. And here are a few pictures during the questions. I just want to take some questions if there. These are a few students from the different training sessions who just sent in their pictures just before this PyCon so that we can just project it there. So you'll find, like this guy, he started as a translator. It just moved too fast, but and from there, I think he's doing a lot of OpenStack documentation work. I think he was the second highest committer in the documentation, something like similar a few months back. So just like that.
We do have some time for questions if anybody's got one.
One. Can you expand the EOM, EOF shortcuts from IRC?
Oh, that's not a shortcut. Actually, just type the angular brackets and type EOF, just so that we can understand the message is over.
Message is over, and the second is end of something, F.
Oh, like you can type either of that, end of message, end of file. Okay, like that.
You said that you have students come in with problems that they want to solve. Do you actually require that as part of it, or because we tried to do that before with educational efforts, where you want people to come in with a project that they have in mind already?
Actually, no, because not everyone can come up with ideas. It will be like out of 40, maybe 5 or 6 will come up with their own ideas. For rest of them, we have something little bit similar kind of things, but we try to push them like what you like. Like spend 15 days, spend 20 days, and find out what kind of problems you have in your daily life. We try to talk a lot over IRC.
Yeah, that makes sense, because we had the same problem. Not everybody's going to come in with an idea, and that was always kind of a challenge. So thank you.
Yeah, it's always a big challenge.
Hi, kind of too tall for me. Hi, timed into that. When you were coming up with the challenges and they were coming up with the challenges, did you find like with conceptual, like all the computer sciencey conceptual things they need to learn, did you find that they were going to miss some gaps, or that or the problem set ended up covering all the gaps?
Of course, they're going to miss some gaps. So during the sessions, what we also do is to pass them different book names, which we think can give them some basic ideas, say about operating systems, say about data structures, what are these things, time to time. And we try to push them to other, like whatever video lectures we find which are useful, things like that. Because only maybe, I mean, not everyone can actually learn those things while only solving problems. But still, real life problems is like, we'll give them a chance to learn things. For example, if you are writing a program which, small game maybe, like number guessing or something, which you want to give it to your friend next. So you have to learn about packaging, that how to package that thing so that you can actually give it across to your friend. So you have to do that and learn something out of it. Thank you.
I actually have a little question. One of the things that comes up somewhat frequently is people who are kind of want to jump into open source but don't necessarily know what project to do. Do you have advice that you can give to the people who are doing your things?
Yes.
And
So
how do you go about that?
So what we do is we actually try to keep a track of the students, how they are performing, what are the kind of things they like. Because we not only talk about programming and computer, we talk about natural things, normal things, what they do in daily life kind of things, try to become friends to them so that we can identify the points, like which kind of things they like. Do they like to use GNOME or KDE? Oh, do you like to use KDE? So you may want to learn a little bit of C++. Here are the few links which you can study. This, if you have a problem, here are the people in our group who can help you with the C++ stuff. And from there, slowly stepping up. Because otherwise, it's a problem to identify that thing. Because that's a question every time it comes up. So Sakti Kannan, if you search his name, he has one of the documents called, I want to do a project, what should I do now, or something. So he actually explained it in that completely, that if you want to do a project, what are the steps? Just follow it up there.
Well, if there's no more questions, let's thank Kushal.
Thank you.